The Lime-Flavored Network, the tastiest netcasts online. The Lime-Flavored Show is brought to you by Trisha's Bakery at trishasbakery.com. This is the Lime-Flavored Show, Episode 9, being recorded and broadcast live on March 4th, 2013. I am DJ Allen. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. I kind of gave a last-minute notice for the show. There's Snowmageddon happening outside right now here in North Dakota, and I wanted to make sure to get the show on and out before things got bad or we lost the internet or whatever. So I don't have my regular. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Well, first, some little tidbits about things. I have made some scheduling decisions about some of the shows that are being done. So let me tell you what is going to be happening here in the future. The first and most important is Echoes Darkly is going to be going back to bi-weekly, so every other week. I'm still working on Bob joining me. I think that we've got the format that we're going to use. I'm not going to. Basically, what I'm going to be doing for the format for the video side of things is I'll still be putting up video, but I'm going to be recording us on FaceTime because the camera that Bob has access to that is not able to be the camera that he has access to that's able to be on Google Hangouts to broadcast live it's too dark. I mean, it's way dark, and we just don't like that. So I'm going to record our FaceTime conversation, and I can put in custom overlays and everything like that in post-production. So I should be having Bob join me, and what I'm going to do is to make sure, and I got to change my calendar here. I had to skip the last Echoes Darkly 16, the regular recording date. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to skip on the 9th. So March 16th we'll have an episode released because that'll put us back on the regular schedule. Because I want to be back on the regular schedule rather than missing a regular week and then starting up on the alternate weekends. So I know it sounds crazy, but whatever. In between those weeks, what I'm going to have happen is Bob and I are discussing a new show, and what we will do when we are ready is do the same FaceTime recording conversation, and we will release the shows on the alternating weekends of that are opposite of Echoes Darkly. So you'll have Echoes Darkly and whatever we're going to call the new show, which we're working on the title. So you get a lot of Bob on Saturdays. And with any luck, we can get Sean involved in the future. But at this point, what I'm basically under the assumption of is Sean is going to be missing on Echoes Darkly until he's in a place where his internet is great, and then we'll just have him back on. I don't have any problem with that, and hopefully he doesn't have any problem with that because we've just had too many problems trying to get him on. The other thing, on the schedule, I have it listed on limeflavor.com that the lime-flavored chess show that I was going to debut on the 20th going to be weekly. I am changing that now. The chess show is going to be monthly. There has been a series of problems that have cropped up in the last couple of weeks that has caused me to have to reevaluate how often I do lime-flavored chess. So I'm going to start out monthly, and if I can increase that in the future, I will definitely do it. But the problems the problems are going to slow me down so considerably that it's just prohibitive. So lime flavored chess will be going to monthly. I will change the schedule as soon as I have an opportunity to do so. The lime flavored show and Limelight on Apple will both continue to be on their regular days. Lime flavored show on Mondays and Limelight on Apple on Wednesdays. And at this point, we are going to continue to do Limelight on Apple live until further notice. So at this point, on Wednesday, we should have a live broadcast unless we're still going through Snowmageddon, at which case we will figure out what we'll do from that point on. So, hi, viewer. So that my viewer can talk to me, I want to go. I'm trying to do an extra window for YouTube so that YouTube comments can be monitored by me, so that I can kind of get into the habit of doing that. So let's there we go. All right. I know I'm terrible. All right, so no, that's not what I want. There we go. Oh, there. Okay, so now I have the okay. Oops. So now I have the There we go. Got to be muted. What the heck, people? All right, I can now interact live with the YouTube comments. Well, hopefully live, and I'll try to keep an eye on that. But let me shrink my other window here. Whoa! To keep an eye on that. And all right, so that's the scheduling situation that I'm in at the moment. Hopefully everybody understands. I'm a one-person operation at this point. I would love to have more shows on, but at this point, nobody else has jumped on. And I'm not sure what's going on with Jay Bear on the air at the moment. I was under the assumption that when he returned to college, he would be back on the air. He's not been giving me shows, so I don't know if he's on the air anymore. So I just don't know. I will find out. All right. This is episode 9. And today I decided I wanted to talk about comic books. On the Limelight on Apple, number 2, I recommended the Comixology app, which is how I get all of my comics at this point. And I just wanted to talk about comics in general, not necessarily about the app. But, I mean, I want to promote the app because it keeps my house from getting cluttered full of comic books. I have gotten some actual physical copies of comic books here recently, and they I like the collecting aspect of comic books, but what I'm primarily interested in these days is the story, because I was collecting in the mid-'80s through a good chunk of the '90s, and what I've came to understand is the prospecting situation. It's made comic collecting prohibitive. So there's no point in trying to collect at this point, in my opinion. If I happen across a number 1 or an issue 0 or whatever that happens to be interesting, great. If not, I will just read them for the stories. So recently, the companies, mainly DC and Marvel, have done relaunches. Top Cow as a sub-company of, they're kind of their own company, but they kind of distribute through Image. They have also done a relaunch, but the DC and Marvel have done relaunches. DC, in my opinion, did it better. And what DC did, and they did it first, was they named, I want to say it was September of last year, September 2012, when they said, we are wiping the slate clean after this Flashpoint event. Every single one of our series will begin back at number 1, including the 2 longest running comics in the industry, Action Comics and Detective Comics. So everything started at number 1 in September of 2012, and they've kept about, I think they're still trying to keep up the 52 comics being released every month, and I only collect a couple of them. I'm currently I read all 52 of the first issues, and I can tell you that over half of them really didn't interest me the way I thought they would. And I mean, it was nice that they tried some stuff. It just wasn't for me. I am continuing. I continued on with a few of them, and as time went on, I just kept dropping them and dropping them and dropping them. And now I'm down to Justice League, mainly for the Shazam backup story. Although the Justice League themselves aren't terrible, but I'm more interested in the Shazam backup story. I am also getting Batwing, which is the best comic of the new 52. I have not read Katana #1. I am going to get Katana #1 because I like the Katana character. I have not read Talon. I have been waiting for Talon to get a couple of issues out so I can buy the first issue for the dollar less. Because that's the one other thing that DC did well, was if the comic comes out same day as print on the Comixology app, 1 month after it comes out, basically when the next issue comes out, the issue is $1 less. So I'm a month behind on all my reading because I'm not buying them until they drop that dollar, which is great because some of the books are too expensive for me. Like Justice League, for instance, I would not purchase Shazam or not at full price. So that's something to take into account. But so I lost my train of thought. Is what I had. But Batwing is the best written of the new 52, and I'd like to get Katana. I'd like to get Talon. There's another one that I'd like to get of the #1 new coming out. There's something coming out that I wanted to check out also, and I'm also getting Green Lantern New Guardians. Batwing and Green Lantern New Guardians, both of those have been consistently, in my eyes, consistently better than anything else that I've been reading from DC. And while I did enjoy Aquaman, I kind of pared myself down in preparation also for the potential of getting the new some of the new Ultimate comics from Marvel. But we'll get into Marvel in a second. So, I mean, I pared myself down, and that's really all I'm getting at this point from DC is Batwing and Green Lantern New Guardians until the Katana and Talon come down so I can check those out. And there's, like I said, there's one other book that I wanted to check out that's coming out soon that interests me. Top Cow, because they also recently rebooted. I have been a Cyberforce fan, and I'm currently getting the Cyberforce comic because the first 5 issues are free because of the Kickstarter. So, I mean, you can't beat free. I'm discovering that I don't like the reboot. I'm not hating it, but if they start selling Cyberforce for more than $1.99, I can tell you that I will not be getting anything from Top Cow either. It's sad because I really, really enjoyed the old Cyberforce, and this new Cyberforce just is not. It's not what I want, and it's been hard to read. The story's not the greatest, and the art is really, really turning me off. So it's hard to push through. But I like them enough to give them at least the 5 issues that are free. So I mean, we can go from there. Oh, I should say that I'm also getting from DC Injustice: Gods Among Us, which is the comic by being put out for the new game that's coming out. It's the DC characters basically in a Mortal Kombat fighting game. The story's really good, and there's 99 cents on digital firsts through Comixology, so I'm getting those because they're cheaper. If I notice they're coming out weekly, then I'm going to stop getting them because then I'm basically paying $4 for a comic, and I don't want to pay $4 for a comic. Anyway, Marvel. I had anticipated when I went from when I was paring down my DC comics that I would be getting Marvel's Ultimate Comics, and that would be the new Ultimate Comics Spider-Man with Miles Morales, and Ultimate Comics Ultimates, and Ultimate Comics X-Men. I am not traditionally an X-Men fan. I don't mind Wolverine. My ideal X team is Cyclops, Iceman, Beast with the blue fur, Angel with or without the metal wings. Marvel Girl or Jean Grey. Wolverine, and I'm missing somebody. It's going to be somebody else on that team. But basically, it's the core people with a couple of changes there. And I'm not traditionally an X fan, but the Ultimate Comics X-Men had an interesting story going on in it to the point where I was interested in reading it. Now, I had been getting my Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man, Ultimates, and X-Men from a source that was affordable to me, and then when I started using the Comixology app, it's now I would be asked to pay full price for them again. Marvel has a problem. Well, let me start. Yeah, Marvel has a problem. Marvel's problem is that not only do they overcharge for their books, but they frequently double ship, which means, well, the overpricing is I'm not going to pay, like I said, $4 for a comic book. They've got all of their Ultimate Comics, those 3 comics that I wanted to collect, at $3.99, which is $4. $4 a book. And if they double ship that book, that's $8 in 1 month for 2 copies for 2 separate comics. I'm not going to do that. I wrote an email, actually multiple emails. I've twittered about it. Twittered? I'm too old to... Anyway, I made mention that basically if Marvel doesn't stop double shipping and if they don't stop, you know, their prices are too high. I'm not collecting anything from Marvel. The things that are within my requirement of being less than $4, I'm not interested in coming out of Marvel. I don't care about the 616 universe. That's why their Marvel Now relaunch hasn't really interested me. I am extremely interested in the Age of Ultron story that's coming out soon, but I'm not going to pay the cash that they're going to ask for to read the story. I will either read it in trade or I will find someone that has it and read it for free. But I am not paying Marvel Comics that exorbitant amount of money to read these stories. So it's unfortunate that Marvel has gone the direction that they have, because I grew up, or I started when I was collecting almost exclusively Marvel, and now I am collecting exclusively DC. So it's been quite a turnaround, but the New 52 relaunch has definitely caught my attention, and the things are working well. I just wanted to put that out there. The Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, when they announced that they were going to change Spider-Man to a younger, half black, half Mexican, half Latino, whatever, kid, I wanted to see, because it was nice to see that things were progressing. I'm a big proponent of progressing. So, for instance, I believe at some point Batman should be too old to be Batman, so Bruce Wayne would hand over the cowl to whoever. I was very happy to see Dick Grayson take over. However, Bruce Wayne took back over again, and then they relaunched New 52. So basically, Bruce Wayne has always been Batman, but you know, he needs that opportunity to move on. Now, the Flash has done it right, and Green Lantern attempted to do it right also, but they kind of reneged on that also. The Flash had Barry Allen, and then they switched over to Wally West as a progression. Now, I believe if it had gone, you know, kept going, that we would have had another Flash involved, you know, taking the reins. And the reason I say Green Lantern reneged a little bit is they had Kyle Rayner took over as the Green Lantern, and then Hal Jordan came back. They should have left Hal Jordan out of the role to let things progress. But I'm a big proponent of things progressing. So the fact that at least in the Ultimate Comics line for Marvel, Peter Parker's dead, and Miles Morales is the new Spider-Man, and he's got different powers because he's been bitten by a different spider, which I found extremely interesting. And I don't know if he's got web shooters at this point, but he didn't have web shooters when I was reading it, and I stopped reading it when I couldn't afford it anymore, so it's unfortunate. But the Miles Morales is a much better Spider-Man, in my opinion, or at least it's fresher. I mean, we're not strapped down with all the continuity. which leads me into why I'm not interested in Marvel's 616 universe. It's too continuity laden. DC had a bigger problem because their continuity was longer. And if you went back and read the issues from the 40s and 50s and 60s, I mean, they're not cohesive at all. I mean, they all happen in the same universe, quotes, air bunnies there. But at some point, continuity became really important. And stories were still being written in a solo fashion, being added to that continuity. And that's it's hard to have solo stories or single stories and have continuity at the same time. So I'm very glad that DC rebooted. Marvel did sort of a soft reboot, which is what people thought DC was going to do. And that's, we're going to start everything back at #1, but everything that happened before still happened. Well, that's, what's the point of rebooting or relaunching or renumbering? Nothing upsets me more than to take, Marvel is terrible with this. I used to collect Fantastic Four. I started collecting Fantastic Four, I want to say at 319 on the original run, and I collected well past 350, and I had gone back and collected as many back issues as I could. I think that I had a solid chunk of Fantastic Fours from like 175 through, I want to say 400-ish, and I had smatterings of earlier ones in the hundreds. But at some point, they wiped the numbering clean, started over. And then, after what would have been an anniversary issue, Marvel renumbered. So if Fantastic Four had stopped being Fantastic Four 536, for instance, and they remade it #1, whenever 550 happened, they would renumber it so that it was an anniversary issue, rather than let it, grow from that point. So the numbering is so convoluted in Marvel, it's ridiculous. And that's all Marvel now is to me. Is it seems a weak attempt to renumber, and when they get to the point when it's time to have an anniversary issue for that character, they're going to just jump it back up. So like Amazing Spider-Man last issue was 700. They started on Superior Spider-Man. Now when Superior Spider-Man hits, I'm going to say somewhere between 50 and 75, they're going to switch it to Amazing Spider-Man. And they're going to renumber, which means that when it's about to hit 800, they want enough headway to renumber from that point on. So they want to hit Amazing Spider-Man 800. And that just makes things more convoluted. But Marvel just really doesn't have the double shipping, and the pricing's the worst. But I mean, there's too much continuity. Just wipe the slate clean. That's why I'm happy with their movies. Is the slate is fresh, because they're doing it from scratch. Like I said, DC has my full attention at this point. I'm collecting the New Guardians. I'm collecting Batwing. I'm collecting Justice League for the Shazam back order. The backstory. I'm interested in collecting Aquaman, Katana, Talon, and I know there's been a lot of complaints about the costume redesigns, the ridiculousness of superheroes wearing the underwear on the outside of their pants is, to me, actually ridiculous. So I'm very happy to see that the redesigns were done, because I like the Kryptonian armor, and I like the fact that they've kept Superman as the basis for their universe. Hang on a second. Wow. My throat is dry all of a sudden. Cyberforce redesign, as I said earlier, is it's unfortunate. I'm glad they rebooted because there was a lot of continuity that was getting built up there, but I don't like the reboot. I'd kind of like them to go back to the other one. I mean, if they could just start over with the same look. It's the look and the way the characters interact with each other. This new one, it's not working for me. As far as comics that aren't of the big two, some of the physical issues I just recently got were Invincible's The Death of Everyone, which is 98, 99, and 100. I didn't get 98, but I have 99 and 100, and I enjoy Invincible. I would like to collect the entire run of Invincible, but I'm more interested in the story that's going on, and it's still got my attention. They're a little bit pricey, so I kind of wait, but I'm willing to buy them at my local comic shop cheaper than get them on Comixology, and I don't get every issue, so I don't know. We'll see. Two other comics that have caught my attention that I'm not collecting, but I was interested in. Both of them are from Dark Horse, I believe. There's the Star Wars, just plain Star Wars, that happens immediately after. It's either after A New Hope or the original trilogy, but that interests me. Stories told in the original trilogy era that I don't know if they're going to undo the expanded universe stuff, but it's worth checking out. Also, Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi. I did get the first two issues, the 0 issue and the issue number 1, and I think it's too far back in history for me. The thing that I like about Star Wars is the lightsabers, and Dawn of the Jedi is pre-lightsaber if you want to get technical. At least it should be, although history has been getting rewritten quite often. So that's what I have to say about comics, I guess, at this point. I'm interested in collecting more or reading more. I don't have the funding to go and get as many as I want. So, I mean, I am getting as many of the free ones as I'm interested in. If the Cyberforce thing doesn't get better, I'm going to stop collecting that one. Like I said, I'm going to get Talon and Katana, and if those two, if they don't interest me, I'm going to stop getting those right away too. But I like reading. I like reading them. They gives me something to do. I enjoy them, and I'd like to create my own comic universe. In fact, I have quite a backstory going on for these heroes, and I've got a Marvel Studios movie universe-esque beginning that gets all these heroes together that I have. I just haven't gotten anybody to draw them for me. I mean, that, and I haven't scripted them yet, but I've got quite a backstory, and I've got heroes, and I've got villains, and I've got the anti-heroes, if you want to call them that. So, I didn't talk about it, but the sponsor of the show is Trisha's Bakery. I have spoken about it in the past, and you should know by now that trishasbakery.com, TRICIASBAKERY.com, you can get dog treats and hats and honey, like from bees, and tie-dye. There's all kinds of stuff. If you go to the website and click on shop, you can see what's in stock, or you can order special things. If you're in the area, you can also get dog birthday cakes for dog birthdays, and go from there. I do plan on the plan is at this point is broadcasting live next week and then trying to catch up again with the pre-produced shows. But I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get to the point to where I'm pre-producing and not recording live as often, because it's like I mentioned in the past, it's kind of hard to be at a specific place at a specific time. So like the 16th for the Echoes Darkly is going to be a little on the difficult side, because I'm actually going to be out of town then, which means I have to pre-produce that one. So if Bob is watching, which hopefully that's my viewer, he will know that we have to record Echoes Darkly before March 16th so that I can have it ready for March 16th. But I want to thank you for joining me, and I will endeavor to put these out live as often as possible. And if you want to reach me, you can get me at limeflavored.com. You can get the email address, which is officiallimeflavored@gmail.com. You can also find our Facebook and Google Plus links. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it's the account connected to the YouTube account, and I mean you can find that through limeflavored.com also. If you have any other questions, you can just send them to me, and I am interested in any content that you are willing to produce on a regular basis. So if you have a show idea that you wanted to give a shot, I don't care if it's an episode or two, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it would be nice to have content to put out that is not mine necessarily. I have recently been on the Knights of the Night Actual Play podcast, letting you know that if you have an actual play, to let me host it. I will host the files. All I ask is that I am the one that gets to I get to keep a copy, and it gets to be put out through the podcast feeds, the netcast feeds, through the website, so that I can have content. I'm not going to own it, but at least it's there. So, and that goes for more than just actual play podcasting. So if you want to put out some sort of gossip show, talk about tech, movie reviews, TV reviews, comic book reviews, car reviews, whatever. Shoot me an email, and we'll discuss it and get you broadcasting. But I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.